The Freedom of Information Bill was finally reported out on the floor tonight in the House. It was sponsored by Deputy Speaker Erin Tañada, the main author of the bill, and Congressman Ben Avardone. With only 6 session days left, is their time to approve it and hopefully convene with the Senate to resolve contentious issues. Will the House leadership urge President Aquino to certify the bill? Joining us tonight on NewsLife is Congressman Walden Bello, one of the co-authors of the Freedom of Information Bill. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, the sponsorship of the bill was done tonight. 5 days left in your calendar before the break. Is there sufficient time to debate it and resolve the contentious issues?
Well, if there's a will, there's a way, and definitely if we have the interpellation and amendment process begin tomorrow, we'll have some time to be able to get the bill to second reading, hopefully by Wednesday, and then we'll get it to third reading next week before the House adjourns on Wednesday of next week, February 6th.
So, sir, one issue which could be mentioned is the right to reply. It is not in the proposed bill, but Congressman Rodolfo Antonino insists it should be included. Will you deny him of not inserting this in the provisions?
Well, this was discussed in the House, the Committee on Public Information, and it was voted down, and it now comes, having been through the committee process, a very serious discussion took place in it, and I believe that if it comes up again in the second reading, the interpellation and the vote on the second reading, I do not think that it is going to get the support of many members of Congress.
Do you see this as a delaying tactic, sir? And personally, are you for the provision?
I do not think it should be in the bill, because the bill really is about access to public information, and the right of reply, while a very legitimate concern, should really be the subject of another piece of legislation that covers not only freedom of information requests, but other published articles or media and other publications. So it doesn't belong to the bill at this point in time. Is it a delaying tactic? I don't think so. I think that the Congressman Antonino and others who favor the right of reply, they really believe that it should be there, and we respect that belief, but at the same time we feel that it should really be the subject of separate legislation rather than here, the freedom of information.
All right, so with the Makabayan Coalition, as they expressed their concerns, why security matters should not be disclosed, how do you settle this concern, given the fact that national security issues should not be revealed?
Well, I think that they're very, the bill is fairly detailed in terms of the so-called national security exceptions, what kind of exceptions these are, the nature of the information, when information can be released. So it's fairly detailed when it comes to that. I think the bill as it now stands strikes a fine balance between the needs of transparency and the needs of national security. So this has been a bill that was worked out with the cooperation of Malacanang, and indeed many of the national security issues that were provisions that went to the bill, in fact, have already been discussed with Malacanang.
Sure, how important is this? How do you see this empowering our people, especially to become more transparent and accountable in terms of their rights and active in exposing government or corruption in government?
Well, I think definitely, I mean, because it's going to give access to the public to what's going on in government, what's going on in terms of discussions in government. I think that it will push officials to be, to act more responsibly and to be accountable for their actions, because this will now be available. Records of this discussions will now be available to the public through the Freedom of Information Act. I think that it is really a sign of mature democracy, that we have freedom of information. And I think there are now countries that have freedom of information legislation, and I think the freedom of information legislation is a sign of maturity of a democracy, and the Philippines, if it passes this bill, will now join the ranks of mature democracies.
Given that, sir, another concern is that what guarantees are there to protect our citizens from harassment, especially when they secure information to expose wrongdoings of officials in government?
This has been raised, and we, precisely in the process of interpolation and amendment, we could arrive indeed at having some provisions that will, on the one hand, protect citizens from harassment that are the subject of information, and at the same time provide access indeed to important government information. So again, it's really a question of balance, and precisely the amendment process will hopefully be able to arrive at some of these provisions for protection against harassment.
Yes. Sir, as an ally of the President, he didn't certify this as urgent. Is his certification important to ensure the bill is approved and makes it to the BICAM Conference Committee and ratified by both houses?
Yes, definitely, because I think if the President certifies it as urgent after the second reading, that means that you need not have the 3-day rule between the second and the third reading, which means it can be taken up immediately after the second reading, which will really mean that it could be approved and ready for the BICAM early next week, and be at the BICAM towards the middle of the week before the end of the session. So yes, it's tight, but I think that with enough political will and with enough cooperation between Congress and Malacanang, we will be able to have this bill ratified at the BICAM by Wednesday of next week.
So, sir, lastly, with 6 session days left, are we confident that this will pass before the 15th Congress ends?
Am I confident? Well, I would say at this point in time, it's a race against time, and I'm not willing to make a prediction at this point on whether or not it will make it. But the sponsors of the bill certainly have the determination to be able to beat the clock on this one, and we're really praying and hoping that both the House and the leadership, as well as Malacanang, will be supporting us in pushing this bill through.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on NewsLife. That was Congressman Walden Bello of Akbayan.
Thank you.